Sharifullah's capture marked a turning point in the global fight against terrorism. After years of intelligence gathering and high-risk operations, he was finally in U.S. custody, bringing an end to his reign of terror. His arrest sent shockwaves across intelligence agencies, governments, and extremist networks worldwide. As he was transported under heavy security, officials prepared for an extensive interrogation process, recognizing the immense value of the information he possessed. Unlike previous high-profile terrorist eliminations, his capture alive provided an opportunity to dismantle entire networks rather than just taking down one individual. Upon arrival at a classified U.S. military base, he was immediately subjected to medical examinations, biometric verification, and initial questioning. His identity was confirmed through fingerprints and DNA testing, leaving no doubt that the world's most wanted terrorist was now in American hands. The immediate priority was extracting intelligence that could prevent future attacks. Counterterrorism specialists, including CIA and FBI interrogators, employed advanced psychological tactics to break through his defenses. Over the next several weeks, critical intelligence was gathered, leading to multiple counterterrorism operations worldwide. Safe houses, financial accounts, and hidden terror cells were exposed, enabling authorities to dismantle much of his network. News of Sharifullah's capture spread rapidly, triggering a mix of relief, celebration, and heightened security alerts. The U.S. president addressed the nation, declaring it a major victory against terrorism, while also cautioning that the fight was far from over. U.S. allies, including the UK, France, and India, praised the operation and pledged further cooperation in counter-terrorism efforts. Meanwhile, terrorist organizations linked to Sharifullah vowed retaliation, prompting intelligence agencies to strengthen security measures globally. Debates arose regarding whether he should have been executed during the operation rather than captured, but U.S. officials remained firm that his imprisonment would yield greater long-term benefits. Inside a maximum security detention facility, Sharifullah faced continuous interrogations. The intelligence he provided led to the exposure of sleeper cells, weapons caches, and ongoing terror plots. His network, once feared and powerful, began to collapse as internal conflicts arose among his followers. With their leader captured, power struggles led to fragmentation, and financial disruptions made operations unsustainable. Several former associates, fearing arrest or elimination, turned informants, further accelerating the network's downfall. Within months, multiple high-profile terrorists linked to Sharifullah were captured or neutralized, crippling his organization's ability to function effectively. As intelligence operations continued, the legal system prepared for one of the most significant terrorist trials in history. The U.S. government faced difficult decisions regarding how to prosecute him. While some advocated for a civilian trial in a federal court, others insisted on a military tribunal due to the nature of his crimes. Given the classified intelligence involved and the risk of security breaches, officials decided that a military tribunal at Guantanamo Bay was the most appropriate course of action. Several countries affected by his actions pushed for extradition or separate trials, but the U.S. maintained primary jurisdiction over the case. The trial, conducted under tight security, presented overwhelming evidence against Sharifullah. Intelligence officers and counterterrorism experts revealed his direct involvement in planning and financing multiple attacks, with intercepted communications and testimonies from captured operatives serving as irrefutable proof. Financial records exposed how he had laundered millions to fund terrorist activities, while digital evidence demonstrated his role in radicalization efforts and cyberterrorism. Survivors of his attacks and intelligence personnel who had spent years tracking him testified, highlighting the devastation he had caused worldwide. His defense team attempted to challenge the legality of his capture and detention, but the magnitude of evidence left no room for doubt. Sharifullah remained defiant throughout much of the trial, refusing to acknowledge the legitimacy of the court and portraying himself as a martyr for his cause. However, his attempts to manipulate the proceedings failed, and he was found guilty on all charges, including crimes against humanity, terrorism, and conspiracy to commit mass murder. The tribunal sentenced him to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, ensuring he would never again pose a threat to the world. The U.S. government rejected calls for the death penalty, reasoning that executing him could turn him into a symbol for extremist recruitment. Instead, he was placed in permanent solitary confinement at an undisclosed maximum security facility, completely cut off from the outside world. The sentencing of Sharifullah was met with widespread approval from the international community. World leaders praised the decision, recognizing it as a major victory against terrorism. Governments strengthened intelligence sharing agreements, counterterrorism strategies, and cybersecurity measures to prevent future threats. Financial institutions implemented stricter anti-money laundering regulations, making it more difficult for extremist groups to fund their operations. At the same time, counterterrorism agencies launched follow-up operations based on intelligence extracted from Sharifullah, leading to further arrests and the dismantling of several remaining terrorist cells. Despite the celebrations surrounding his capture and sentencing, security agencies remained on high alert for possible retaliatory attacks. Terrorist groups that had once operated under his leadership attempted to reorganize, but internal conflicts and a lack of resources weakened them significantly. His imprisonment shattered the perception of his invincibility, discouraging new recruits and undermining the morale of his remaining followers. Over time, his network crumbled, and his influence faded into obscurity, marking a decisive blow to global terrorism. Sharifullah's trial and conviction also ignited debates on the ethical and legal aspects of handling high-profile terrorists. While his military tribunal was largely supported, some questioned whether such cases should be handled through civilian courts. Human rights organizations raised concerns about detention practices at Guantanamo Bay, arguing for more transparency in counterterrorism operations. However, the general consensus remained that his capture and sentencing had delivered justice for the countless victims of his crimes. His downfall served as a critical lesson for intelligence agencies and military strategists worldwide. The operation that led to his capture demonstrated the power of coordinated intelligence efforts, advanced surveillance technology, and international cooperation in the fight against terrorism. The shift toward cyber-focused counterterrorism strategies became a priority, as experts recognized that future threats would likely emerge through decentralized online networks rather than centralized leadership structures. Sharifullah's capture, trial, and sentencing marked the end of one of the most dangerous terrorist leaders of the modern era. His imprisonment ensured that he would never again orchestrate violence or spread extremism. While the fight against terrorism remains ongoing, his case proved that no individual, no matter how elusive or powerful, is beyond the reach of justice. The world moved forward with renewed determination, knowing that vigilance, intelligence, and perseverance could bring even the most dangerous criminals to account.